Hello folks, welcome to the midweek edition of the Satori Traders Precious Metals News. Always a pleasure being here with you. A little bit different this week. I am actually going to ask you to do something. I've never to date asked you to do anything, but today I am going to ask you to get physical. Folks, if you're serious about the precious metals, a precious metals portfolio starts with easily accessible physical metal. Get physical. And I'm not just blowing wind here. I was at the coin shop Friday. Let me tell you, it's shocking to look down into the cases and see that silver costs $5 over spot, But I'm also of the opinion that that is the real cost of physical metal. The charts that we look at, silver's at, it's under $24 right now. But that's not the real, that's the manipulated, that's the paper price of silver, not the real price of silver. If you were buying physical silver in America on Friday, the price was, $29, $30 an ounce. So, get physical, folks. These charts, this is the area that we're talking about here in this video. It's precious metals. When we're looking at our overall portfolio, and folks, I hope you're doing your portfolio planning at some level. We want to have we need some liquid savings in the bank, life insurance. Don't burden your family with a bunch of debt. If something unforeseen happens, don't burden your family with a bunch of debt. That's what life insurance does for you. Set aside some money to play with. Life's no fun if you're not having fun. Yeah, obviously. Tax stuff, that's an interesting game to play. But anyway, this is what we're focused on here is the precious metals within a diversified portfolio because, most people still invest in, stocks, mutual funds, bonds, etc. And a lot of Americans have money tied up in these, actually kind of locked up in tax-favored retirement accounts, 401ks, 403bs, etc. And that money is, Wall Street does not make it easy for us to move our retirement money out the vehicles where they're able to milk us throughout our investing careers. And so Wall Street always wants us to stay down here. As savvy investors, we want to explore the opportunities available to us up here. And of course, precious metals is our focus. So now we're, if you just go down the tiers here, and so we're focused on the precious metals segment of our overall portfolio, and then we can talk about three different categories of investments or asset classes. And so this is my point today with Get Physical. This is where a precious metals portfolio starts, in my opinion. It's real metal held in your hot little hands. Or, if you're in a big city, there are local vaulting facilities, Farmer Joe's back 40, next to the big oak tree, anyway, easily accessible physical metal. That's where your precious metals portfolio starts. Then we can talk about physical metal. So we're still talking about it's real metal, silver and gold, platinum and palladium, if those metals float your boat. But it's real metal. These aren't paper securities. It's real metal. The distinction is that it's held remotely. We can't get to it easily and maybe can't get to it all. And so, that might look like a Perth Mint certificate or a gold IRA, precious metals IRA. That would be physical metal stored remotely. And of course, that falls into the tax-favored investment category. And then precious metal securities. And of course, that's, mining stocks and warrants and options. And, this is our real focus for the most part is on mining stocks here at Satori Traders. So let's jump into the charts. I got way too many open. Gold in the monthly time frame. No changes here. It's just, we want to see that we really like this monthly bar to close above the boundary line of that right shoulder. In the weekly time frame, as I pointed out last time, super bullish candlestick. That's a bullish hammer, doji. I tend to, I try to simplify. I'm getting older, I try to simplify everything. So I just think of that as a doji. If you want to get geeky about it, yeah, okay, that's probably a bullish hammer. The point is that long lower tail shows us that buyers came in at this support level. This is a strong support resistance level. Buyers showed up in spades here with money in hand, and they bought gold and pushed price. They closed price way up here. The manipulators pushed gold down to 1680, and the buyers, the people that recognize the value of the precious metals and also recognize that the precious metals are in a secular uptrend bull market at this point. It's going to run for another 4 to 8 years. Those investors were buying the heck out that support level. And so we see the result there here in the weekly chart of gold. Down in the daily time frame, so this is the daily time frame for gold. We got a new MACD buy signal in the last couple of days. Gold's coming off this oversold, from a MACD perspective, this is an oversold level. And so gold very oversold at 1680, and now we're getting this strong bounce. Yesterday and today, gold's dealing with resistance at both the 50-day moving average, and this is the 1794, that's a horizontal support resistance level going back to, that's April of this year, April of 21. And so we can see that, price clearly dealing with resistance at that level. New buy signal is MACD is in bear mode, so both indicators below zero, energy elevated and rising. So bullish chart in gold. Silver in the monthly time frame. Point I wanted to make here is that, we looked at this chart at the start of the month and it looked bearish as heck, because the price bar, price was way down here. And so it looked, that was not a pretty chart. And it even looked like we were invalidating this flag pattern. But here we are on August 18. So, we're in the back half of the month, and well, looky there. I don't have a problem with the lower wicks or upper wicks being outside of a chart. And so by the end of this month, by the end of August, I'd love to see price close up here above this trend line, which just strengthens the idea that this is a valid flag pattern. And of course, these flags, pennants, however you want to look at these, they tend to mark the midpoint price movements, impulsive price movements. And so this was an impulsive price movement. The flag would suggest that this is the midpoint of that movement, and then the extension, so a replication of that impulsive movement, gives us our target up here at 39.89. Silver in the monthly, we're still looking good. Here in the weekly for silver, testing support down here at 23. That, that's a positive indication. Last week's candle with the lower wick, that's what I was just saying. That lower wick is bullish, and it would appear that, buyers came in at this $23 support level, and buyers showed up ready to buy. So energy's in the tank. MACD's on a bear, almost in bear mode on a sell signal. So not a bullish chart at all. Silver in the daily time frame, energy low. MACD's very oversold. That was one of the things I was noticing this morning, is that from a MACD perspective, silver is extremely oversold. And so, interesting, we've got MACD at a very oversold level, and coincidentally, we've got price bouncing off a strong, what appears to be a strong support level. So just something I noticed this morning. Price is obviously dealing with resistance at this horizontal support resistance level. Coincidentally, it's the 20-day moving average in there as well. So basically, we're just waiting to see in silver. And I always feel like gold is the, gold leads. At times, silver appears to be leading, but in my mind, gold is always in the lead. Gold is real money, and so gold always leads. And silver, relatively, is such a small market that the whales, the people who try to manipulate the precious metals markets, I believe they focus on the silver market in particular in the hopes that they can influence gold. by messing with silver. We looked at this Sunday, GDXJ in the monthly time frame. And of course, GDXJ is my proxy for the mining stocks. And we were finding support. This is a Fibonacci retracement of this impulsive price movement that we got. That's 2020 coming out of the big scary plunge. And so we were sitting on this 50% Fibonacci retracement. Actually, 50% is not a fib level. That's a Dow theory. 50% comes from Dow theory. And so anyway, we were bouncing on 50%, but it appears, at least for now, in this time frame, the monthly time frame, that price is dropping below that level. Now, by the end of the month, we may get a close above that level, and obviously my bullish bias, that's what I'd sure like to see. GDXJ in the weekly time frame, again, this is not a pretty chart. So, this is a hard chart to look at as a mining stock bull. And folks, this is the reason I started this video the way I did. Within our overall portfolios, if we are appropriately allocated, it's like, we're better able to deal with price action in the mining stocks that may not be what we'd really like to see. Don't have your next mortgage payment riding on whether the mining stocks rally in August or not. That's never a wise strategy. And pop back to it. That's why in a well-planned portfolio, we start with, we got some cash. We got liquid cash that we're able to access when life throws knocks our way. When life presents challenges, we're not up against the wall, and we're certainly not going into our mining stock portfolios and liquidating right now because we got to pay the rent next month. So anyway, just consider big picture portfolio planning as part of your precious metals investing. So anyway, not a pretty chart, which motivated me this morning to look for, it's like, okay, where is support? And first thing I noticed is this horizontal support resistance zone. And of course, we have to ignore this is the big scary plunge in early 20. And so sometimes, price action, whether it is manipulative, which we see fairly often in the precious metal sector, or a market-wide movement, as that was, big scary plunge, that spike happened to all markets, doesn't matter what you were invested in. And so we don't let that kind of price action invalidate our chart pattern, our technical analysis. So anyway, there's the next support level in the weekly time frame, and that's, the top of that level is about 37. And so when I dropped down to, this is GDXJ in the daily time frame, I was looking at 37, and of course it's off the screen. Anyway, folks, 37 is the next support level if the mining stocks, GDXJ as its proxy for the mining stocks, continues to drop lower. And again, this is not a bullish chart. GDXJ daily time frame, moving averages, that's bearish alignment. 200, 50 is below the 200 and the 20 is below the 50, and they're all pointing down. That's full on bearish alignment. The moving averages, MACD in bear mode on a, looks like, sell signal, energy in the tank. So mining stocks not looking good. Still, sideways bumping above a support level, energy in the tank, pretty much same as GDXJ. US dollar, and of course, this is one of the things that the metals are reacting to is strength in the US dollar. And so we can see this is the current stick, again, weekly time frame, pushing up into this resistance zone, and this is showing some strength. This is a bullish chart. If you step back and just look at, what do I think of that chart? That's a bullish chart. Energy is very elevated. MACD is in bull mode on a buy signal. Moving average buy signal. This is a bullish. And again, I'm expecting or not going to be surprised by strength in the US dollar as as global markets experience challenges. If you were watching the news flow yesterday, so we had some big movements in the currency. The New Zealand currency had a big move, and what was the other one? We had another currency move yesterday, and both of them based on lockdowns. So anyway, and that kind of action in the international markets, as investors give up on those foreign currencies, foreign to us as Americans, they likely to flock home. They're going to return to the U.S. dollar as it's the least ugly sheep in the field. And so we may see more strength in the U.S. dollar than could be expected otherwise. Bitcoin, has yet to better that resistance level. I've talked about this a little bit. As a trader, if you're trying to speculate on Bitcoin, you basically got two trades or two potential trades. There's the breakout trade. If price was able to break above that level, this is the pullback. We had a breakout at this level. Price was able to rise. Conservative entry point on this breakout trade here is to wait for a pullback to that breakout level and then get long. And these pink lines is that you're waiting for an entry down there. So and make no mistakes, folks, I have zero intention of taking an entry in Bitcoin. I am merely sharing this chart for people who are interested. And obviously crypto is a interesting part of the investment world at this point. So keep an eye on Bitcoin, equity market. So SPX, we got a bullish on Monday, pushed up into resistance again, upper median line of this mod shift pitchfork, and now pulled back yesterday. Strong support on the 20, same concept again here. Buyers came in at the 20-day moving average and they closed price way up there. So, yesterday's candle is bullish. This morning, we're just kind of consolidating. That's a non-definitive move so far, potentially finding support again on the 20-day moving average. In the Dow, in the daily time frame, support along this horizontal support resistance level, 20-day moving average. Bullish candle yesterday, that's a doji. So far this morning, we got a doji off of that support level. So the, Dow's looking pretty bullish. Again, that was Monday. We got another push into this resistance level at the median line of the fork, and then obviously a pullback. Non-trivial pullback from that level. This is the Nasdaq in the daily time frame, and so clearly price is bumping into resistance at that level for whatever reason. Got a confluence of support resistance. We've got two Andrews pitchforks and the 20-day moving average in there. We'll expand that action, and so we can see price consider that kind of confused action. But there's, like I said, there's a confluence of support resistance in there. So a lot of stuff for price to work with. From MACD perspective, MACD peaked back there and is in a downtrend on a sell signal, still in bull, which suggests that the primary trend in Nasdaq is up in this time frame. Energy elevated but falling. Let's look at oil. Brent just, hanging out, sideways consolidation below 70, sideways range between 67 and 70, a couple of different ways to look at that. Energy is very low. MACD is in bear mode and oversold. If oil wants to rally, it's at a good oversold level to do so. All right, let's jump into, I got a double handful of mining stocks open this morning. It is, I'm at 22 minutes. Let's see, Aloro. So this is in the weekly time frame. Big movement in Aloro and 62% Fibonacci retracement. That's what I would describe is going on here, is that we got this pullback to the 62% level and we're bouncing from there. This is our 40-week moving average. Looks like it's providing support. Volume is declining as price declines. That's exactly what we want to see in a bull trend, bull market. Investors are not sticking with this stock. That got bored, took profits after the big move, haven't come back into it yet. MACD is in bull mode on a sell signal. So that's Loro. I have a large position in Loro. Altamira Gold, Quentin Henney project. Yeah, sideways bumping, 200-day moving average. Yeah, big selling that, more selling than I would have liked to see on yesterday's action. That's probably this morning's action. Nope, that's still yesterday. Time delay. I don't have real time on the over-the-counter markets, I believe. Let's see. But clearly, accumulation distribution, investors are accumulating this stock. 22 cents for a Quentin Henney property. That's a good investment in my book. So Hannon Metals this is the monthly time frame that we're looking at, and I was watching the 62% level Fibonacci retracement, and it appears as of the current monthly candle that level is being violated. That level's not providing support. And so, we might be looking for what's our next level? And, down here at 14, 15 cents potentially. Yeah, investors are lightening up on their positions. Energy very low. So I have a position in hand silver mining company up in Golden Triangle, British Columbia, I believe. Vino is a U.S. listed silver mining stock. We're in the weekly time frame. This big move, this was with the Reddit silver activity. Anytime you get a big move like that, whether it's to the upside or downside, it affects the chart technically. You come to this chart as technical analyst, and it's, what the heck do I do with this? That one price bar really blows this chart kind of out of the water. And so some investors they'll choose not to invest in this stock just because the chart is ugly. And the reason that I am a couple of reasons, but number one, it's U.S. listed. At some point, I believe we will have a retail rush into the mining stocks, and American investors are going to look for U.S. listed. Everything with silver and gold in its silver or gold in its name is going to rally as retail investors try to get their money into the mining stocks. And so that's my primary reason for investing in U.S. listed mining stocks like Avina and Alexco. Novo, I have a position in Novo. Of course, they're a new producer. Quentin Henney got an opportunity to buy a mill and did so. I mean, from a strategic perspective, what Quentin did made absolute sense. Being in production changes what the company looks like. They're no longer a junior mining company exploring and developing. They're now a producing miner, which, investors look at it differently. And yet the real story with Novo is that they're one of the largest junior miner explorers on the planet right now, and have one of the most exciting land packages. They got 14,000 square kilometers of land in Australia. And Quentin Henney, man, if you go do some research on how iron and oxygen created some of the metal resources in Australia, and you'll understand what Quentin's doing there. So anyway, that's Novo. Bumping along 150. This is the over-the-counter. We're in the weekly time frame, 150 level acting as support for now. Let's see, Newfound, they had a big, strong move. This was all on drill results, 62% Fibonacci retracement of that move. And so sideways bumping, consolidation, however you want to look at MACD, obviously in bull mode, currently on a sell signal, energy low, heading lower. Investors, took profits, weekly time frame. So I have my medium-sized position became a large position when Newfound did that. Dolly Varden, investors have divested, got bored and moved on. MACD very oversold. I was noticing that this morning. So Dolly, silver miner, I believe that they are also up in British Columbia, Golden Triangle. I'd have to double check. Don't take my word for that, folks. Ethos Gold, we've looked at a couple of times recently, and so they got a big spike. I think last time we looked at it, we talked about that being a potential breakout trade or waiting for the pullback and buying at support. And so if you did take that trade, you're probably happy with the results. Obviously, investors are newly accumulating, last couple of months, investors are accumulating this stock for whatever reason. Very bullish chart and still at 50 cents. So let's see, that's the Canadian market. And so over the counter, if you're buying this one over the counter, ETHOF, that's, I don't know, 33, 35 cents, something like that, US. Lion One, I large position in Lion One. Investors have yet to recognize or reward Lion One for their land package. We can see that in accumulation distribution, lost interest and haven't returned yet. Energy in the tank, MACD in bear mode on sell signal. So Lion One, NV Gold, I really like their business model. It's another Quentin Henney project. It's 14 cents, folks. This is over the counter, so that's 14 US pennies. You can go buy a share of the stock. It's got some favorable fundamentals. They focus on Nevada. If you're an American investor, it doesn't get much better than mining for gold in Nevada as an American investor. It's a tightly held stock, so there aren't a lot of shares available. Float is small, and management holds a large portion of the available shares in this company. And so, seeing management actually investing in the companies that they're touting is a good thing. There's any number of mining stocks that we could look at, and we would find that collectively management holds less than 2% of the outstanding shares. Is that good, bad, indifferent? That's up to each individual investor to determine for themselves. For me, that's a warm fuzzy, the idea that management is holding a bunch of shares. When I looked at this chart this morning, it was basically sideways consolidation, bouncing along a horizontal support resistance level. It's 14 cents, folks. And so what came to mind is something that Bob Moriarty mentions from time to time, and that is the concept of buying lottery tickets. A 14-cent stock that actually has some legitimate prospects of bringing economically viable precious metals to the market. That may not be a bad lottery tickets aren't investments. So Bob suggests adopting the mindset of buying lottery ticket, and perhaps 14-cent stock could be a lottery ticket. And let me tie that back into where I started today with the idea of our overall portfolio. If we're looking at, let's go back and look at that. If we go back and we focus on our precious metals portfolio, so just the precious metals segment of our overall portfolio, and then we focus in even closer on just the precious metals securities, the next level, the next level is to break this, because within, securities, there's any number of categories within mining stocks, metal securities, options, warrants, shares, and then within shares, so now we drop down and talk about shares, it's like, okay, we're talking about royalty companies, explorers, major producer, emerging producers, there's any number of subcategories within the mining stock sector to talk about. And so potentially with a very small percentage of our portfolio, we may go play this game and adopt the mindset of, I'm going to take a little bitty bit of my portfolio and I'm going to go buy some lottery tickets, and perhaps, a 14-cent stock with Quentin Henney as the director, mining in Nevada. They've got a good business model. Anyway, think about lottery tickets, folks. Lexco, another U.S. listed silver miner. We're looking at the monthly time frame. You know, not bullish action. What is bullish in this chart is that volume is dropping. So when price is in an uptrend and then price pulls back or goes into a sideways consolidation, we'd like to see volume drop. And so that's exactly what's going on here. So instead of investors selling this stock, spiking in volume, we're actually seeing volume fall. You know, investors are not bailing on this stock. It's like, yeah, okay, price is doing what it's doing, so what? I'm not so, but that is not a bullish chart. And looks like we got one more chart. SK Mining, another Quentin Henney property, sideways consolidation, bumping along. Accumulation distribution, you know, investors, yeah, we got some people that have gotten bored and moved on, but in general, investors are hanging on to this thing. MACD way oversold, energy in the tank, where are they at? $1.80, and we're looking, yeah, over the counter. So SK is another large holding in my portfolio. Folks, we have come to